The Switch is launching with a whole lot of problems and a lack of too many games at launch, and yet it is still one of the most hyped new hardware releases in a long time. The reason for this? The Switch is launching with what is being hailed as the greatest game ever made, or one of them anyway. Yesterday, PlayStation UK took to congratulating Nintendo for the stupendous reception that Breath of the Wild has received. However, PlayStation Italy decided instead to have some fun at Nintendo's expense. The price of the PS4 is being dropped in Europe for one day. PlayStation Italy decided to make a fun tweet about this. As you can see, the left side of the image is red and white, reminiscent of the Nintendo's Switch marketing branding. The text there reads March the 3rd and is a very special day for gaming. The right side of the image then goes on to say, PlayStation 4 is now just €199. It's a pretty funny, good-natured bait and switch. No Man's Sky wasn't actually a bad game. For what it did, it was actually pretty good. The problem doesn't come from it being bad. The problem comes from it being disappointing, and a far cry from what the developers had promised for the game in the lead up to its launch. The developers promised the universe, literally, but even game marketing hyperbole aside, they promised very specific features for the game that didn't make it into the final game. The game was sold as a full-price $60 game, so naturally people were annoyed when they found out that they'd been misled and that it was lacking features that had been promised. The problem came afterwards. Developers Hello Games disappeared off the face of the earth and refused to communicate with fans, exacerbating the situation. A lot of games have had poor launches before, but their developers have been able to remain in open dialogue with the community, work with them and salvage the situation, and eventually the game. Look at Diablo 3 or Destiny, for example. Hello Games didn't do that, and No Man's Sky became a cautionary tale. An award-winning cautionary tale, because incredibly enough, the game has been awarded the Innovation Award at GDC 2017, beating out The Witness, Firewatch, and Pokemon Go. While you may be annoyed by this choice, just keep one thing in mind. The award is for the technology powering the game, not for its content, and certainly not for the context surrounding it. It is hard to deny that No Man's Sky makes some pretty clever use of existing technology. Still, I can't imagine a lot of people are too happy about this. EA CFO Blake Jorgensen teased even more information about Star Wars Battlefront 2 at the Morgan Stanley Technology, Media and Telecom Conference, and noted how it would be dramatically larger than its predecessor, with a lot of new characters from the newer films. Jorgensen simply said that the Star Wars universe is just unbelievable to build games in because it's so vast. He also had time to tease BioWare's new IP, which is apparently more sci-fi related. The action franchise is still a ways off from being properly revealed though. Jorgensen offered a few other teasers, like how elements from FIFA 17 would be in Madden NFL 18, possibly referencing the successful single-player mode, The Journey. Engagement levels for Battlefield 1 are currently fantastic, and as for Jade Raymond's next action game, it's very early days yet. That being said, the Assassin's Creed producer's next game is meant to become a new franchise. Bethesda has practically exploded in terms of popularity and fame over the last decade, and as such it makes sense that the size of the studio itself, not just in terms of the projects they're working on, but also in terms of the number of people working for it, has increased exponentially. According to numbers provided by Bethesda boss Todd Howard, the studio currently employs 180 people, and in fact they're not done with their expansion. As a NeoGAF user points out, Bethesda are also currently looking to hire even more people, with 28 job openings being shown on their official website, which means that the studio is on track to double its size. Is it possible that the reason for this significant growth is the fact that the studio is gearing up to ramp up development on The Elder Scrolls 6? Possibly. However, we also know that we won't be hearing about a Skyrim sequel for a long while yet, but you never know. Bethesda may do a Fallout 4 and announce it all of a sudden like they did during E3 2015. Bethesda are, however, currently working on a total of 7 games, so it makes sense that they're increasing the number of people working for them.
And that'll be about it for this one. If you guys like what we're doing at GamingBolt, please consider subscribing to our channel, and I'll see you guys on the next video.